So what is up, guys? Welcome to Late Night Shots, episode 15. And today we're joined here by a special guest. A lot of you guys have requested him a lot, and here he is, Mr. Gary Traub.
How's it going, guys?
Are we doing good?
All
So,
right, Gary.
if you don't know, Gary wrestles for The Ohio State University. He was a starter this year at heavyweight. He ended up ranked in the nation actually as a first-year starter. So we'll just get started. Derek will start us off.
Yep. How's everyone doing tonight? Hello, Gary. We're just gonna start here a little bit before you got to The Ohio State University. So let's just talk a little bit about what got you into wrestling. So, what age did you start wrestling?
So I started wrestling. It was really since I can remember. I've been wrestling around with my brother and stuff like that. My dad, he was the high school coach for the area, so obviously he kind of pushed me in that direction. I came to all the practices, watched all the guys. As I grew up, and I kind of fell in love with it from there. But yeah, that's probably where it all started. And then I didn't really get kind of serious about it until junior high, because that's kind of when I had my first, I remember having the first time I ever had a goal of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve, and that was to win the GMC, which was our conference, and not a lot of people from my school did it. So that's when I kind of was I'm gonna I have a goal and I'm gonna try to do it. So that was the first time I really got serious about wrestling.
Yeah, so we see that a lot with a lot of these Division I athletes that we spoke to, and Division II athletes as well. That starts when they're young. A lot of solid wrestlers just started when they were young. So so you did you end up winning the conference?
So my seventh grade year, I didn't. I got sixth, and I remember I did the classic semi slide, but
Yeah.
I was wrestling this kid, and I literally got, I think it was the semifinals, and I got pinned in 10 seconds, and I was literally so embarrassed, double A right to my back. But then my eighth grade year, I did win it. So, that's when I kind of fed off of it, and I was like, dang, okay, I got that gold. Now we're going into high school. What's next? So that I kind of fed off that as a young guy.
All right, so you're in eighth grade. You're coming off of the conference championship win. So you did get pulled up as a freshman. Then what weight were you wrestling your freshman year?
My freshman year, I was 182 pounds. So I was a little guy. Looking back at the videos, I was like, oh my gosh, I was a shrimp. But
so wrestling 285. How did you end up doing your freshman season?
So freshman and sophomore year were kind of the same. My freshman year I was on JV. A couple of the matches I couldn't really beat the guy ahead of me until I would kind of beat him one week, and then he'd wrestle me off and he beat me the next week. And it wasn't until we had a best 2 out of 3 before sectionals, and I ended up winning the best 2 out of 3 and then I ended up being a district placer, a district placer, but I didn't make it to state. So my freshman and sophomore year were kind of similar in that, where I got to districts and then kind of ran into a little brick wall of people that I just couldn't beat. And it wasn't really until so those first 2 years were kind of the same. Even though my sophomore year I went up to 195, so it's still kind of the same.
Yeah. All right. So just kind of some would say a mediocre freshman and sophomore season. So then what really clicked for your junior season then?
Yeah, it's kind of like looking back. It's pretty obvious that I should have been doing it sooner. But my buddy, who was my training partner, Cole Sutton, he was telling me, he's like, dude, you got to go to this camp. Go to these camps in the off season and work with some of these guys. So that's kind of when I started. I was like, you're right, man. I'm not, obviously what I've been doing hasn't worked the past 2 years. So that's when I started going to the Golden Cross camp, which was at LaSalle High School, right down the street from me. They got a really good team. So I started going and wrestling with those guys, and I would go to Spatola's down in Kentucky, and I got to wrestle with Mason Paris back when he was in high school and stuff like that. So I get looking back at some of the guys that I wrestled, I'm like, yeah, that was some good people to surround myself with. And my junior year, it was obvious that it paid off because I was undefeated in the regular season. Beat some of the guys that beat me last year, and and kind of handed it to two people a lot. So I was undefeated going into state, and it's actually kind of funny because my dad's senior year of high school, he was also undefeated, and we both ended up placing fourth. So it's kind of like my junior year mimicked his senior year, so that was kind of a cool little story going on. But yeah, I was undefeated going into state, and I wrestled Isaiah Marsheim in the quarters, and then I lost to him, and I had to battle all the way back. And I remember being so mad because I got my 100th win in the consos, and that's at the state. So I was like super pissed off. I was like, damn, I got my 100th win. I can't even celebrate because I'm not going for the championship. But I lost to him in the quarters, and then I fought all the way back for third and fourth, wrestled him again, and I lost to him again. So my junior year, I have 2 losses to the same person. So that was a little frustrating. But yeah, definitely the just the camps over the summer helped out just tremendously. And then I did the same thing my senior year, obviously trying to find those people to surround myself with.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Like you said, the last 2 years, I really started focusing in on wrestling because I also played 2 other sports. So did you play other sports in high school, or did you just wrestle?
Yeah, I played middle linebacker and fullback for the football team. And then our linebacker coach, he was a real old school guy, so he always wanted us to be doing something. So in the spring, he was the shot put and discus coach. So I also did shot put and discus. He kind of made us do it, but I wasn't too mad. Just like kept working out, and I think that helped out a lot too. Just I wasn't like sitting on my butt, getting fat. So that helped out.
Yeah, that was something definitely like that our wrestling coach tries to do, is set other people up in different sports too.
Yeah.
If you're not playing football, go play football. If you're not doing this, go do that. But yeah. So
Yeah.
what weight did you wrestle your junior? Were you still at 95 then?
Yeah. So sophomore through senior year, I was 195.
Yeah. All right. So state fourth, a solid placement. Had a couple tough losses, two tough losses to the same kid. So you did the same thing, some more camps in your going into your senior year, and then I'm sure you're at the state tournament. So how did that play out for you, the state tournament your senior year?
Yeah. So actually, I was we kind of made my schedule. Like I got invited to Ironman, and I wrestled at Ironman. I didn't end up placing, but I beat Kevin Schneider, who ended he was on Ohio State. I remember joking with my brother after I beat him. I was like, Jimmy, bro. He's like, do you know who that was? I was like, that's Kyle Snyder's brother. I just beat him. I think he was ranked like 16th in the country at the time. That was like my first like kind of like marquee win of my career. Cause like before that, I'm like, my biggest win was like just guys ranked in the state. Nothing ever nationally. So that was really cool. And I remember joking with my brother. I was like, Jimmy, bro, he's going to Ohio State. When's Tom Ryan going to send me my letter? I was like, I know it's coming. So that was kind of like a fun little thing. But we made it harder so that I would try to – basically I went to all these tournaments to just try to see Darmstadt because I knew it was basically going to be me and him at the state finals. And so we went to Ironman. I ended up not seeing him. I was 1 match away. I lost to a pretty tough kid in the quarters. And then we went to Brecksville, and I ended up taking third there. And I was on the opposite side of the bracket of him, and he ended up winning it. So, the 2 times I tried to see him, we didn't really get to see each other. But then, going through the state finals, I remember just my run through state, it was like kind of surreal just because, my school only had 1 state finalist, 1 state champ, 1 state finalist. So it was kind of like it was exciting to do that. And, like, my dad coached our first state champion. So, like, just getting to, put him back in the seat when like during the finals, it was really cool. I remember the night before my match, I ended up made it to the finals, had to wrestle Darmstadt. I kind of knew that was the story I kind of wrote that I wanted. So, but I remember the night before, all the junior high kids and all the elementary kids, I got an envelope like this thick to my hotel room. And it was like a bunch of letters and stuff from all the kids in the elementary school and the junior high. And they were like, good luck, Gary. Like, you got this. Like, so that was pretty cool. Like, just having all the support of those guys. And, like, now some of them are graduated. So, like, I sent a couple of them, I know them from back home. I sent them, like, a picture of the letter that they wrote me when they were in, like, junior high. So that was really cool.
All right, so you set up the match. You got Darmstadt in the finals, and how did that play out for you?
It not in my favor, but I remember going into the match. I was so confident. I knew that he was going to throw in legs. I knew what he was going to do, and we kind of had, right. I think like the first minute in, I threw him out of bounds. I lat dropped him, and I remember just like the crowd went, "Oh!" Like everyone was like, "Oh, this is the match. We had a match on mat one." I was like, because he was already a 2-time state champ, so and this is my first state finals. So, people are probably, like, overlooking me and stuff like that. But, I threw him, and then kind of all the eyes came to that mat, which was pretty sweet. But I ended up losing I think it ended up being 7-4, 7-2. Kind of gets blurred up with all the emotion that happened afterwards. But I remember, just going to the tunnel and, like, just breaking down crying. I mean, that's what I worked hard for. And I remember, like, my dad, he came to the tunnel, he, like, grabbed me. And he was like, you didn't get what you wanted, you didn't achieve your dream or whatever, but now you get to go to the next level and you get to, do it all over again. You get a second shot at it. And he basically just told me, like, don't F it up. So, so that was kind of like my motivation going into college and, like, wanting to do good and stuff like that. Like, then after that, I got invited to senior nationals. And I knew that was a big opportunity to get recruited, and I ended up taking third out there at Virginia Beach. So that was kind of a big opportunity for me.
Yeah, so take second in the state, obviously, not what you came for, but hey, you still were there, higher than your fourth place finish your junior year. Then you go down to Virginia Beach, and you end up taking third. Again, another solid placement for a senior national tournament. So then after your senior nationals, is that like what – hold on, quick before we talk about that. So football-wise, were you recruited for football ever, or was that like – you like not as –
No, I was recruited for football. It was actually one of the guys that recruited me. He was recruiting me to West Virginia State and to be a linebacker there. Like, my buddy had already gone there and committed. He was about to graduate though, so he would have been gone by the time I got there. But their coach, the year I graduated, he got the linebacker coach at LSU, and I texted him and I was like, hey, congrats on the job. He's like, if you would have came with me, I would have taken you with me to LSU. And I was like, oh, don't tell me that now. Yeah. But so he's the linebacker coach over at LSU now. But yeah, coming out of football, I was not like no schools like Ohio State. I mean, it was just like little schools like OU, Toledo, some D2 schools, but nothing really as big as Ohio State for sure.
So then wrestling comes around, and you did great at senior nationals. And when did the wrestling offers kind of start rolling in?
I got it at senior nationals. I got some of the coaches came up and like gave me their cards and stuff like that. And I was talking a lot to Coach Greenlee because that was kind of the one D1 school that really gave me the most interest and like kind of took the most interest in me. So at first it was kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to go to OU because that's a D1 school and I want to wrestle D1. So that was kind of my thinking. But then it really wasn't until, after senior nationals, one of the guys that my dad coached in high school, he went to Ohio State as a walk-on, and he ended up being a team captain and an All-American. So, he kind of set the path that I'm trying to follow now. But he put in a word with Jay and got me up to an Ohio State practice, and that's kind of when at that practice, I got to wrestle with Colin Moore. I got to wrestle with, some of the high-level guys in the room, and I was doing pretty good against them. Obviously getting my butt kicked, but like holding my own on some goes. Took down Colin Moore, so that was a good memory. But I remember after the practice, Jay grabs me. He goes, hey, man, we want you to come up. We saw you wrestle. You look good today. Like, we want you to come up on a visit. Like, do you want to come? And I looked at him like he was crazy. I was like, do I want to come on a visit to Ohio State? Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm up here. I'm up here already. So basically from, as soon as he said that, I was like, I'm going here. I don't care if there's no money or anything. Like, I don't care if I'm the last guy on the roster. I want to go here. So that was kind of like my curvy path to get to Ohio State.
So you're there. You made it to Ohio State. Almost like a dream come true for you. And
Yep.
so from senior nationals on, were you still weighing in right around that like 197 or like what? Yeah, you would have wrestled 197.
Yeah, that was kind of coming in. I mean, I had no plans to wrestle heavyweight whatsoever. Like, I wanted to be a 197. I was gonna 197 or even 184, honestly, because I knew at the time we had Kyle at heavyweight, we had Tavanello. We had some good guys up at heavyweight, but it wasn't until like I'm trying to think a little bit into my freshman year when Tavanello got hurt. He like hurt his shoulder in practice real bad, like tore his pec or his shoulder or something. And Coach Ryan comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, Gary, I know you had plans going 197, and I was going to wrestle off Kevin Snyder. But he's like, hey, you're a little heavy right now." I was sitting around like 215, 210 because I hadn't really started my cut yet. But he goes, "Do you want to just stay up and you'll be the backup behind Kyle?" And I was like, okay, yeah, like I'll do that. And he's like, you'll get some matches when Kyle's out of the country, because I think he only wrestled like, he had like that abbreviated schedule. He wrestled like 8-10 matches, both his last 2 years. So I was like, yeah, coach, like wherever you need me, like I want to do what's best for the team. Like if the team needs me at heavyweight, like put me there. So that was kind of my reasoning for kind of staying up. And then, once I stayed up, I was like, dang, I don't want to cut weight anymore. I want to just stay up here. I like it up here. But I had a wrestle off, and I won the wrestle off. And, coach comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, this guy's a fifth-year senior. You're a red shirt. We're going to go with the senior." I think I beat him in overtime. Classic. Always overtime. Never can just get the job done in regulation. But I beat him in overtime, and he's like, "It was close. We're going to go with the senior. Is that okay?" And I kind of, I was a little disappointed, a little frustrated because, I wanted to be the guy behind him, and I won the wrestle off, and I thought I earned it. But, I took a step back and, let the senior have kind of his last hoorah. But I don't regret it at all,
No,
so.
Yeah. So Coach Ryan makes the big decision. He kind of looks at you and is like, "Hey, you want to go up to heavyweight?" And you're at a Division I college. You're obviously not going to say no to that.
Yeah.
And because again, when you're at Division I level, you're replaceable. So there's always going to be better recruits coming in, and who knows where if your position's ever going to stay there. So let's just go through your last season. I mean, a stellar season at heavyweight last year. Some big wins for you. So I'm going to pass it over to him, and he's gonna ask you about this last season you wrestled.
Yeah. So your last season, it was obviously like you're basically coming in as a nobody. Nobody really knows you from anywhere around the country. But then you get thrown out there because Singletary's out against the Stanford kid, David Shawmney, right?
Yeah.
He's about 6'5", extremely jacked, probably around the 260, 270 range.
Yeah, big boy.
I was watching that match live actually, on TV. And then I see him, I'm like, oh, this guy's just a backup. He's not gonna do anything. This kid's just gonna toss him like a rag doll.
Come on now.
And then I see it, right? He comes out firing, takes you down in about 20 seconds. I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen. But then I'm thinking he's about to try to tech you or something, and then I just see no points getting scored throughout the match. And then I see him getting worn down occasionally. And then you come back like with that takedown with about 10 seconds left and ride him out. And you don't think you'd be able to hold him down, but he was just dead at that point. So it's like walk me through that a little bit, like what you were feeling before the match, like during.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a little weird before the match. It happened. It happened before the Cornell match too, but like we didn't even know who was going to wrestle until probably the end of the first period of Collins' match. So we're both back there. There's one singlet. We're both warming up. I'm looking at Chase. I'm like, "You heard anything yet?" Like it's getting about that time, So there's definitely like there's a lot of like anxiety and a lot of nervousness because one, you don't know if you're going out there or not, and part of you, as much as you hate to admit it, like part of you, I'm sure part of me would have been relieved if I didn't have to wrestle that match.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, part of me would have been relieved, but there was that part of me that I didn't really know yet. that wanted to wrestle and wanted everyone's eyes on me. I never really, especially at that level when you got 10,000 people, 8,000 people looking at you watching your match. I never really felt that before. So definitely, and that's the part of me that came out throughout the rest of the season. The part of me that wanted everyone's eyes on me, and the part of me that wanted to not wrestle kind of took a back seat. So, but yeah, definitely coming out, I was nervous as hell. No lie, I was super nervous, and especially I get on the mat and I see this big old dude, and I'm like, God, this guy's gonna be so strong. Like, am I gonna be able to move him around? Am I gonna be able to do this and that? But once I shook his hand, I was like, okay, like it's time to go now. So, that first takedown kind of shocked me a little bit. Like, just I think he picked me up off the ground and kind of took me down. So I was like, okay, I see what he's got there. But there was a point, I can't really remember what the point was, but I remember he was just like, I was like, he's kind of breathing heavy. Like, he's breathing a lot heavier than I'm breathing right now. And, I hadn't really done anything. I hadn't really, taken shots. It wasn't like I was shooting him to death. I was like, I'm wearing him down with just my hand fight. So, like, that kind of fed me a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm just going to hand fight the hell out of this guy. And, I felt the opening for the shot. And once I got on his leg, I was like, you got to finish this. I was like, you have to finish this shot right here. And that's when I, pulled him in and kind of dove for his leg. And actually, during the film study the next day, where you see me pushing off of him, and then you see the clock behind me, and there's 2 seconds left. So I almost let him up with a second left, but I was like, Coach, he had nothing left. He couldn't even stand up afterwards. He had nothing left. So, and definitely after that, that's kind of where people started calling me Gas Tank, and that whole nickname came from. So, really grateful for that match, and definitely will not forget it.
Yeah, of course. I saw your emotions after that match. It was just crazy to watch because it's one of those unthinkable upsets that you really. It's not like both of the guys were national ranked, but it's like Dave versus Goliath in that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, it's one of those matches overhyped. You were looked at to have no chance to win. Same thing as Rulon versus Kralin if you're looking at that.
Yeah.
Just cool to think about, right? And just after that match, just a short while after, you go in versus Cornell. Right, I've kept up with Cornell a little bit. I know Brendan Furman's a lot better than that Stanford kid because a lot of New Jersey guys are going there. So I'm like, okay, you're going to this match, a guy who's around right at that 285 mark.
Yeah,
probably a lot better defensively and better game on the attack and better on top. And I was looking at that. I'm like, I wanted to watch it just because you were in it, honestly, because you already pulled that big win just a week prior. My main concern is where could you get out from bottom, and could you really put the points on? So what's your mindset going into this, trying to get out from bottom, and how close? Did you want to play the match close, as in you wanted to wear them down the final seconds, or did you want to play it where you want to put on the takedowns? You just couldn't.
Yeah. So I think I got especially after that first match. I talked to Traub a little bit about after those first 2 matches. He's like, you don't you don't have to. He's like, I know they're calling you Gas Tank, but you can win it in regulation. You don't have to make it close. So I wasn't – it's not that I was trying to, but I feel like as the match went on, I got more and more confident that I could take the guy down. So, that first period, I would really just use it as I'm going to make this guy as tired as possible. I'm going to make his neck hurt as much as possible. And I think he got a quick takedown on me too, same as Showman. I think he took me down pretty quickly. And he was a lot heavier than Showman. I kind of felt that at the end there when because I think I had one nice shot, and I drove him out of bounds. I was trying to lift him up, and I couldn't get him. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tougher than that. So, but when I got in on that shot, that was the shot before I took him down. I was like, okay, I know I can get to his legs now. Let's just finish one. And at the end of that match, I didn't even know I got the takedown. I just heard I heard everyone yelling, but I thought it was because I lost and it was close. So I got up and I was kind of confused, and you can see me go like this a little bit, and then I go, yeah, let's go, because I was like, oh, I got it. And then but going into the match, all I was really thinking of was okay, you did it once, but can you do it again? So that was my, kind of there was a little bit of doubt in my mind, like, okay, you got lucky that first one, but can you do it again? And after that Cornell match, my confidence really got super high, and I knew I could be the starter and do pretty good. So yeah, that match gave me a lot of confidence for sure.
Yeah, of course. Like, and after that match, you pretty much like solidified yourself as a starter for Ohio State.
Yeah.
And like, of course, you're wrestling the Big Ten, the hardest wrestling conference there is in college. And you're going against some tough guys. Like after that, you had a stretch with guys like Trent Hilger, Gable Steveson, Tony Cassiope, 3 of the top 5 guys in the country, right? It's like, what was really your mindset going up into that match with like all 3 of them, really?
Whenever I was wrestling, I had Tanner Hall was in there too. Like he was a couple weeks before, and then Hilger and Cassiope and Stevenson were the same weekend. So, that was a beast weekend for me. But I don't know where I heard it from, but I just told myself, like, make them prove it to you. So like that was kind of my mindset. Like everyone says these guys are better than you. Everyone says that they can beat you and stuff like that. But make them prove it to you. And if they do, then good for them. And if they don't, then good for you. So that was kind of my mindset. Just like I was like, I want every time I step on the mat, if you're supposed to be better than me, I want to make you prove that you're better than me. Mm-hmm. And I don't want it to be like me being scared or like me being nervous, just because they put a number in front of somebody's name. So, that was kind of my mindset. I wanted every opponent that I wrestled, even if he was worse than me, I was going to prove that he was worse than me. If he was better than me, I was going to try to prove that he wasn't. So that was kind of like my little mantra that I played in my head before all my big matches. Even the ones that weren't as big, but so that was kind of like what I was playing inside my head.
Yeah, of course. I get that. Yeah. So one match I want to touch on real quick is Trent Hilger, right? You guys, you're not really the same body type. He's a little bit bigger, But the main thing is I was watching that match, like the hand fight was just what it is. Trent Hilger's one of the most conditioned dudes also up there. He's not a guy that you're just going to tire out like you're going to do with Herman or Sean me, right? You're wrestling him. I see you getting in on shots, but he's the one guy I've seen with like very advanced leg defense. So like, what was your thought process of like when you got in on the shot and he would just stalemate it and just get like really good defense on that?
Definitely frustrating. He's a hard guy to wrestle, especially because you don't get a lot of, besides Chase, so I kind of had a good feel for his leg riding, but you don't get a lot of big guys that ride legs and can ride legs as well as he does. So that was definitely my biggest concern going into the match, especially because, all year I struggled on bottom a little bit. Like you saw that at some of my other matches, just struggling on bottom and struggling to like move the weight around to where I could stand up. So that I was definitely that was where I was most nervous. But the first thing I wanted to do in that match is just make sure I could get to his legs. So I think I had like a couple shots where they got stalemated and stuff. But just being able to get to his legs gave me confidence. Going forward, that match at Big Tens, it was a 1-point match, and I thought I had the takedown there in the Merkle position, but ended up not calling it. It ended up being a 1-0 match. But I think each match with him got closer. I think that's the same with like Cassiope. Each match got a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Maybe at Nationals I would have turned that. I just think I would have turned them around. But yeah, just anytime I'm wrestling a guy that is as good as Hilger and as good as Stevenson and Cassiope, it's just like making sure I can get to their legs and telling myself that, okay, now you got to the legs, now let's see if you can finish. Now you finished, now see if you can hold them down. So like just kind of taking it one step at a time and not getting overwhelmed with this guy's really good at leg defense. You're not going to be able to touch his legs. So just kind of making them feel more human.
Yeah. So in those big 3 matches, I saw like a lot of things in Steveson and Cassiope too. Like versus Gable, it's Gable Steveson. That's how people are going to see from the outside. Like this is the number 1 guy. He's not going to be beating, right? He's not going to be beaten, right? He kind of laid it onto you a little bit. It wasn't anything really crazy though. But as we know, Gable is a guy whose conditioning is a little bit iffy, and you can see at times, like versus Cassar last year. You saw Paris start wearing them down at the end of the third period, Is that something you took into mind? Like, you're like, okay, if I can just get this, hold them off for long enough, maybe I can get that takedown here or there.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know that it was that it wasn't major because I was looking at the wrong scoreboard. I was looking at the team score, thinking it was my score, and so I was like, okay, it's not a major yet. Like I'm still kind of close here, and I was surprised when they said it was a major decision. But yeah, definitely, and I think I kind of felt that, and that's the one match that I kind of regret that I didn't, fire off a shot late in the match because he was tired a little bit, and he was kind of like, doing his taunts. So I really, looking back, really regret not like just diving in for a leg or something and trying to finish one at the end there. But yes, I mean what can you say about him? He's an athlete, so he's not going to be you're not going to out quick him, and you're not going to out strength him. So you just got to be real technical. And I didn't have it at that point in the year, and he did. So it kind of made me look a little silly, but you learn.
Yeah. In the last one of those 3 matches is gonna be Cassiope, right? You're really close to that, except for like the first thing, of course, he had that leg, the infamous picture with you like up in the air like that.
Yeah, no.
It happens. He's a strong dude.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a big boy as well.
Yeah.
I don't think he finished that one. The one in the paper he didn't finish. I think he finished the one after that. So
I think he finished. He got you to the ground and finished it like a while.
Yeah.
Like you defended it off for a while though.
Yeah.
The main thing I want to talk about in this match is there's 2 things. The second period, right? Cassiope's a guy who normally very easily gets out from bottom. I haven't seen anybody really hold him down. And then you basically came in with it was like a near Merkel leg and like a far power half, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Top, and then you almost run him out for the entire period. Like, just walk me through what was going through your head there.
Yeah, so that ride is actually a ride that I did all the time in high school, and I kind of got away from it, just thinking that it wouldn't work on big guys and stuff like that. But I remember talking to my dad before the match. He's like, "Get back to your ride." He's like, "Get back to what got you here." So I put that ride on him, and I was like, that gave me a lot of confidence. I ended up not getting it on him at Big Tens, but it gave me a lot of confidence. Like, okay, I can ride people now. I could slap this in. And actually, the next day after we practiced at Minnesota, Coach Eggum, their head coach, came up to me in the locker room. He's like, "Hey, man, I saw that ride you put on Cassiope. That was pretty tough. That was pretty sweet." So, just hearing it from, another Big Ten head coach, that they definitely gave me a lot of confidence. And the fact that, the next day Stevenson didn't pick bottom on me. So he definitely gave me a lot of confidence. Like, okay, he had to have been thinking about, that ride, and, if his coach is talking to me about it. So that was pretty cool. And oh wow, this coach watched my match, and so I'm fanboying a little bit, but that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. And in the third period, you got those double overhooks. It's you're almost because Cassiope's another guy who's in pretty good shape. All the top recruits coming out from high school. He's not really a guy. He's an athlete. He's not really a guy you're gonna gas out like that. He gets those double underhooks here with double overs. What are you thinking there?
I was thinking toss him. I was honestly thinking, let's quietly cry a little bit. And, after the match, Bo comes up to me and goes, Cassiope's like a big Greco guy, don't you? And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that, But yeah, definitely, I'm fairly competent in the upper body, so I thought I had him. I thought I had the angle on him. I think what kind of messed me up is when I went for it, I kind of hesitated, and I wasn't, because I was half going, instead of committing to it, I kind of half went for it, half didn't, and I kind of went bit me in the butt a little bit. And then Colin was showing me try to go inside trip instead of outside trip. Yeah. So there was a couple of mistakes made, but definitely when I was in it, I thought I had him. Yeah. I was ready to throw him because before the match, actually, his dad, or what I'm assuming is his dad, I was warming up, and I made the mistake of turning around when someone's yelling at you at Carver. So never make it again. But I turned around, and his dad goes, "You're not getting shit on my boy. You're not getting," and just yelling at me like that. And I was like, oh, God, at least put my headphones back on. I was like, all right, if I get the chance to throw this kid, I'm throwing him. So you know, looking like that was kind of my he might have set me up, but
Like, I can just see what this guy's dad looks like. I can picture
he
my
was
head.
well, he was screaming at me. He's like, gas tank, hey, gas tank. And I made the mistake of turning around and, you know, but I mean, that place to wrestle in too, like that place is insane. You know, just getting to wrestle, you know, obviously our place is incredible as well, but, you know, get to wrestle at some places, you know, historical and awesome as Carver Hawkeye. And then you get you're in front of like 15,000 people, you know, and then like Bryce Jordan, you got 16,000 people there, you know, so definitely getting to wrestle at those two places, you know, I'll never forget. Definitely like once in a lifetime for sure. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And Carver can be like a hostile environment at times, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, they got people, they knew the referee's name, and whenever they called something against Iowa, they'd be like, hey, Angel, we're going to come to your hotel. Like, we know where you're staying. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like these people are crazy. And like, they're yelling at Bo, saying that, you know, that he wasn't a good wrestler. I was like, Bo's not even wrestling. And then like, whenever Bo was talking to Rocky, they're like, oh, don't listen to your brother. He never won squat. And I was like, dude, these people are nuts. But anything in the book you could think of, they were throwing it out there. So
Got DeSanto passion casting on.
I think I saw the most angry Ohio crowd was when DeSanto injury defaulted against RBY. And RBY ran the wrong way in the tunnel and ran in front of the whole side of their crowd. And I was like,
waiting for
here we go. Something's getting thrown at. Someone's grabbing him. He's getting thrown something at. Like, it was bad. You see him just screaming at him.
Well, when Sasso beat Lugo, he was like this, like, and he stared them all down, and then he took the long way too, and Coach Ryan looks at me, he goes, he's gonna get himself killed, and I was like,
yeah, I would have done that too, honestly.
But yeah, I mean that place is crazy. You know, obviously I wish I would have got the win, quieted them up a little bit, but you know, just getting to wrestle there was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you know. So in your wrestling room, of course, you have like some of the top guys, like before this season. Obviously, you had Kyle Snyder, you had Colin Moore, and you had Miles Martin. Like, those were like the main three guys you'd be wrestling with. Chase Singletary's probably in the mix, and a couple other guys I'm probably not mentioning. Like, how was it just on like a daily basis?
Oh man, it's a grind every day. You know, every day. And what I liked about it is you can't hide. So you know, and those guys don't let you hide. So like, if they see you going with like a lesser tier guy or something like that, especially, you know, being the starter, I wanted to grab those guys more and more and like kind of learn from them. But you know, like my first 2 years getting to wrestle with Kyle, you know, at first when I got there, I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be like kind of an a-hole and stuff like that. You know, he looked mean, but he's like super nice guy. He'll like, if you're doing something wrong, he'll show you. If you're having trouble with a finish, he'll show you what he does. So, you know, like, I definitely got to learn a lot from him, which was like super cool. And he brought in like guys like Jaden Cox and Taha Cool. So, you know, there was one point where I'm in a 3-man group with 2 Olympic gold medalists just getting my butt whooped. But definitely, like, yeah, it's just a once in a lifetime experience to get to wrestle with those guys. Like me and Taha are kind of cool now. So like, got a couple pictures with him and stuff. He gave me like a turkey wrestling shirt, which was pretty cool. But
he's not even that big either.
Yeah, dude, he's a beast. I remember when I first wrestled him. So this might be my freshman or sophomore year, but he came in and I'm wrestling with him. We were doing live goes, and he takes me down and he goes 2-0, 4-0, 6-0, and then I ended up chest wrapping him and taking him over, and I was like 8-2, Taha, what's now? And then he took me down, leg laced me for the win, and he was like tech. He's like tech. So that was
down with it.
Yeah, and I had a little bit of a belly during that time, and he came out to me. He's squeezing my belly. He goes, "You eat good, huh? You eat good." And I was like, "Get out of here!" "Yeah, I eat good. Get out of here." I was like, "You're big too." So you know he's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
so how was wrestling with Jaden Cox? Because he's like, in my opinion, the most athletic guy, like pretty much.
Oh yeah, I mean he's slippery as hell too, and you know he showed me some good stuff too. But like I remember there's one practice recently actually Coach Ryan, for some reason, he taped his elbow to his body. So this was like taped like this, and he was wrestling with one hand. And Coach Ryan comes up to me, he goes, Traub, go hand fight with Jaden. And I was like, is he gonna take that thing off? Or like, he's like, no, he's gonna wrestle you with one hand. And I was like, you want me to hand fight him full go while he's got one hand? And he's like, yes, Traub, get over there. So Jaden's like this, and I'm like hand fighting him hard, like snapping him down as hard as I can. And I was not expecting this because I thought we were just hand fighting. Dude takes a shot with one hand and sweeps my foot, and I just landed flat on my back, just knocked the wind out of me. And I was like, Jesus, Jaden. I was like, I didn't know we were shooting. He's like, oh, sorry, man. He's like, just kind of gets to me when I'm in the flow. And I was like, yeah, no kidding. But
kind of happens.
Yeah, he's a beast. But just that getting the hand fighting with one hand was just crazy for me. I was like, I felt kind of bad because like there was times where I'm like cranking on his neck and stuff like that, and he's just fighting off with one hand.
He probably knew he was just doing it.
Yeah. That was cool. He's a beast, man.
Yeah. Something I find like really interesting is like, you see Kyle Snyder practicing with like all these guys. Like, you think there'd be like a little bit of bad blood, but like there's really none. Like, guys like Taha Ghul, like him and Sajulai Everchill, Jaden Cox after that NCAA semifinal. You see him practicing guys like Adam Kuhn also.
Yeah, I feel like especially like at the high level, like those guys are like everybody just wants to learn and get better. So I feel like they have like that kind of special relationship where they put their egos aside, they're and just want to learn, which I think that's why one of the reasons why I love wrestling, because you got people from all different places, all different sizes that I can learn technique from Luke Fletcher, and he's a 141 pounder, and I could teach Luke technique. I mean, he won't probably listen to any of my technique. Dude's a beast, but I could if I wanted to. So I think that's one of the cool things about wrestling is it doesn't matter how big you are or what you like to do. You could learn and be good. So
yeah. Another thing I want to touch on is like a big thing I've seen with like Ohio State, like upper weights, like guys like Colin Moore, guys like Miles Martin, you and Kyle Snyder, right? Guys like that I've never seen anybody like ride you guys on top successfully, really. And like if you see a guy like Colin, you put him against Bo Nickel, he's like one of the only guys I've ever seen getting escapes in like 5-10 seconds on him.
Oh yeah. I mean, Colin's probably one of the best that I've seen. I mean, when we have to do top bottom with him, you know what's coming. He's going sit out, high head turn, but the way he does it, you can't float behind him because he's just out. Yeah. So I've especially this year I had a little struggles on bottom, throughout the season a little bit. And I kind of got with him to try to teach me some of his stuff, but the way he does, I mean, he's just got a feel for that. Yeah. I don't have yet, but I keep practicing it, get better at it because, I mean, you get out on bottom, especially being a heavyweight, that's a big point. And it's like not giving up their riding time point, which is big.
Especially like as a guy, like, what are you, like 225, 230 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like having a guy like Tony Cassiope on top of you, it's not fun.
Yeah. Especially because the way I stood up, I kind of learned the hard way against Hilger the year before at Midlands. I tried to stand up and I basically like tripoded up and tried to squat him. And I remember just my legs just being so dead afterwards. I was like, I'm never doing that again. And he was just cranking legs on me. But definitely trying to learn from those guys. And I'm glad Colin's staying in the room kind of so I can keep getting that technique from him.
Yeah. So a big thing like right now is you wrestle with Greg Kirkley a little bit. Of course, like not too much because you guys he's going into like his real freshman year right now.
Yeah.
I was there too. They both transferred to Penn State. So like that limits you away from them too, really, at this point. And also the practice partners that Kyle usually brings in, right? Because now they're coming to Penn State. Penn State has this massive upper weight core right now with like Nick Nevels, Seth Nevels, Kassar, Kirk, and Snyder also, And then you're just there with really Tate Orndorff right now and Chase Singletary and Colin Moore. So, like, how are you adjusting to that?
So like definitely it was kind of shocking at first, when Kyle left, but looking back, at first, you're kind of upset with him, going to Penn State and stuff like that, but he did it for to try to get better, and you can't blame the guy for trying to. He doesn't feel like it's working. He knows better than me, so he didn't feel like it was working, so he moved, and I still love the guy, so. And then me and Greg still talk a lot, and stuff like that. We wrestled a couple times. He beat me at U23s and stuff like that. He's going to be good. He's going to be really good. So
He's actually Derek's pick for winning the national title.
Yes,
really,
he is.
really.
Yeah,
I think
think
again, another guy who's nasty on top of the legs. Yeah,
him,
except for
okay.
you.
All right, Garrett.
And at least wait
Garrett,
till
Garrett.
Oh, come on.
Garrett,
Come
hear
on
me
now.
out. Kirk coming in. I just don't want Gable to ever win a national title. I'm gonna put that out here now.
I'm gonna
I
say
want
I'm
him
fine
to-
if Colton Schultz wins too.
Colton Schultz, Kirk, you, Hilger, Paris, anybody else could win. I just don't
Okay,
want to
just
see
as long as
Gable
I'm on the
win.
list.
Not Paris.
Just no Gable. No Gable. I just don't want him to win. I just think he would be so upset if he never won a national title.
That's just so messed up to say, but
Especially now. Think about it. His season's gone. His 2020, it was his year. This season was his year to win. It's gone now. You got all these incoming freshman studs, Kirk, Colton Schultz. You're having these guys improving. Like, I don't know. I just think someone's going to knock him off the throne this year and take that one spot. Who knows? It could be you. It could be you.
Hey,
Who knows?
It better be me. Man, better me than anybody else.
Yeah. Another big thing I wanted to touch on is in the evolution of heavyweights, you have those Adam Coons and Sam Stolz, and then Kyle comes along, he's pretty much an outlier. And then you see guys like Derek White, Jacob Casper following in Kyle's footsteps. And then right now you're having the big guys coming back really, and Tony Cassiope, Matt Stencil, Gannon Gremmel, Carter Isley. The main thing you see with that is you see big guys riding legs now, because you see guys like Greg Kirkford, even Colton Schultz a little bit, Luis Fernandez from Cornell, and Trent Hilger is the main one really. So is that something you might consider doing in the future? As a smaller guy.
I think with legs, I'd probably stick with that, little Merkel power half ride. But you do see an evolution kind of. It is kind of cool to see, when you think about it, you had the big guys that just wanted to go all over body, and then all of a sudden you got guys like Kyle that are going low, and now you got kind of a mix of where Cassiope, he can hit you with inside reach single. He's quick there. Then you got Mason Parris, who's big, but he can get low, and you got Stevenson, who's big, but he's super athletic. So you're getting these big athletic heavyweights, and I think it's just making heavyweight wrestling more fun. It's not going to be the stereotypical. You still have the push around matches, but you're getting a lot more action. I think that's good for the sport and good for good for heavyweights to get that bad rep off of us. Of just being a bunch of brutes. But but I was also going to add too. We got we're not too depleted at heavyweight too. We got Amar Desi. He comes in. Yeah, he's in there a lot. I love wrestling him. He's awesome.
Still one of the top guys in the world.
Made it 14th in the nation for Canada. So that's pretty cool. And then we got Morgan's in there too. He's another Canadian guy. And then Jaden Cox comes in a lot, and just keeping Miles and Colin close. So we still got big guys in there, but definitely not to what we had before for sure.
Yeah, and that's mainly because Kyle leaving. Pretty much everybody that wants to practice with him is going there now.
Well, I was gonna say so hey, I'm not too mad about Kyle leaving because he took Greg with him, and that got me. That put me right.
We can't hear you right now.
Can't hear you. Technical difficulties. No, we can't.
Yeah, no, I still can't hear you.
Still can't hear you.
Try saying something.
No.
Can you hear me?
Technical difficulties, everyone. Don't worry, we're
It's
working
not
on
good.
it. Oh no. No.
Oh, this happens in the important podcast.
I
we
know.
can't hear you.
I know.
I can see you. I can't hear you though.
Yeah, we can see you, no ears.
We can't hear you.
Nah. I don't think he can hear us either, though, which is weird.
Text him on Instagram real quick. It's okay, but how many people made it this far in the video?
Listen, this is a good video. This is
I
good.
know it
This
is.
is good stuff. This is good. This is a good episode. Oh, Gary.
I think he's back.
Is he?
Yeah. look. You shared my post.
I don't know. I saw.
Smiley face. Yeah.
I know. I saw. We can't hear you, Gary.
That's the Elite Disguise 101 right there.
That's this guy's just a big emoji.
Smiley
over his
face over
head.
his face, yeah.
Yeah. So we have confirmed events for Tuesday night.
Confirmed events for Tuesday night. Oh, we're not supposed to say that. You know, if you made it this far, you get a sneak peek. We're going to have Nebraska's 184-pounder Taylor Vance Tuesday night. So stay tuned.
I also have reached out to David Carr, Evan Wick, Quincy Monday, and I just reached out to Sammy Sasso.
Gary's back, I think.
Gary, please.
We should hit up Saju Live and see if he wants to hop in on this.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
yes,
you.
we're back with Gary.
Yeah, my bad. I got like a
Oh,
notification about the curfew, so it like froze my phone all up. So.
Oh, you have a curfew?
Yeah. Yeah, the city. Yeah, I guess the city just emailed or like text us all like emergency text, but.
You can turn those off. I mean.
Dude, yeah, it's been long. Yeah, my bad.
So,
all right.
We'll, if you made it past this far, we'll get into the big win that everybody wants to hear about, Seth Neville's. So
I've never felt better about seeing someone get beat.
That's messed up. You're a Penn State fan too.
I am a Penn State fan, but he beat me up bad at camp this summer. He beat me up bad.
Again, yeah. What was he? I think he was ranked third in the country coming out of high school. Again, another guy that had all the hype on him. He really didn't perform as well as people think he would this season. Maybe it was just him being a freshman, but yeah, nonetheless, one of the biggest upsets. It got you ranked. Just walk us through what was really going on.
Oh, so when we first pulled up to the place, I kind of went through the lineup and it was kind of like looking at what the team score might be coming into my match. And, I kind of said this before, but like whenever you're writing your story, you always put yourself as the hero. So the story that I wrote for that match, I was going to be the hero. So I had it all coming down to me. And, obviously I had us winning the duel. Didn't work out like that, close matches. Some of them we got back, some of them we didn't. But, going in, I thought that it was going to come down to me. I thought that I was going to be the one that was going to win it for us. So I was really excited. I was really nervous. And you walk into Bryce Jordan, we got there an hour before the match started and it's already packed. The place is already bumping. They got music playing. I was trying my best to just take it all in and, just be thankful to be there and grateful that I get the opportunity to wrestle for Ohio State on the biggest stages against one of the best teams. So that it was really like a surreal experience. But going into the match, once the team score kind of ended up the way it was, and I kind of knew that it wasn't going to be down to me, it did kind of take a little bit out of me because I was like, dang, even if I win this match, we lost the duel. But so I was really kind of thinking more about the team and the team's win rather than my match itself. But I walk out, places going crazy, and whenever he went out of bounds and kind of scuffed his knee up, because it was his own fault, honestly. He kept driving me out of bounds, and I kind of snapped him down, and he hit his knee on the hard part of the platform and cut it open a little bit. but I remember I went back to Coach Ryan. He was talking about this in the post-match, or like in the next day of film. But I went back to Coach Ryan and I was like, Coach, like he's resting his collar tie. He's resting his collar tie on my shoulder. Like I can hit my move, like my pass by. and Coach Ryan just kind of looked at me. He's like, then hit it. He's like, hit it then. And so, going into the I think it was like the end of the first or second or whatever. So going into the third, I felt it, and it ended up being that same move that I told him I was going to hit, and I hit it. And I remember, like, so all match, I hear my dad up in the stands and go, put him in the air. He's like, put him in the air. So when I got it on that single, like, I was like, I'm just going to put him in the air. Like, I'm just going to try to lift him up. And I got some really cool pictures of me lifting him up. But just after I won that, it was just surreal. I didn't know what to do. I was like, dang, I just won. So I was like I thought I was like pumping up the crowd. I was like, oh, hey. And then I remember that we weren't at Ohio State. And Jake comes over to me and he goes, you can't pump up the crowd. They all hate you here. And I was like, oh, man, you're right. This isn't the Cavelli Center. I'm not. So I was used to everyone, just cheering for me whenever I won, and it wasn't like that. Yeah. But my dad said after that match he tore something in his shoulder because he was fist pumping so hard. And you can see him in like the video, just like fist pumping super hard, and he was screaming the whole time. So that was honestly one of my favorite matches. Obviously, wrestling on the biggest stage against a tough opponent in a tough environment, and it was awesome. I'll never forget it. It was insane.
Yeah, coming into that season, I actually had Seth Neville's placing 5th in the country. So that's a huge win. Like, I was watching the stream live again. That's always like the biggest duel of the year, Penn State versus Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even Bo Nichols getting hyped for you. Like, it was crazy.
It was awesome.
If you heard that, yeah. It's like, again, like, I'm like, okay, it's not, it can't happen again. Like 3 times.
Yeah.
That third period takes time to happen.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm like, if you take a shot, Seth Neville's shutting this down. This dude's good. Like,
yeah.
Because I watched the scramble versus Cassiope, Like
yeah, I knew he could scramble too. Going in, I was I definitely I was definitely wary of his scrambling ability. I saw him against Cassiope and a couple other guys wiggle his way out of some dangerous positions. So I was definitely expecting it. And when I lifted him, I don't know if it was like my angle, I must have been in deep, but he lifted up a little easier than I thought he was. He's a big boy, so I had to put him over a little bit.
How did it feel having him right on top? Because I know that's like one of his best positions, right?
Oh, what'd you say?
How was it like having him ride you on top that match? Like,
honestly, I don't remember. All I remember is the end. It was just like a whirlwind of emotions. I remember like a couple situations in the match, and I haven't been able to find it. I've been trying to find it on YouTube to watch it again.
It's not there. I've looked for it. And if you have the pictures of you lifting them in the air, you guys send me those for a thumbnail.
Yeah, I'll send them to you guys. Yeah, they're free. They're sweet.
Yeah, because I've been looking for that,
Yeah, but I've been trying to find the match too because I was like, of course,
you guys weren't ranked in the top 10. I think that's why.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing. Yeah. I was trying to have like
I think the stream on Flow should have it though. Yeah,
that people sent me that of like the end, but there's only a couple positions that I really remember in the match, which is kind of crazy. But there's a lot of emotion and a lot of hype. So it was pretty sweet. Made the bus ride back a little bit more bearable for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just wanted to touch on this a little bit before we wrap things up here. We already did the lineup preview for Ohio State. Surprisingly, they have you guys ranked 9th. I thought when we talked about this, that's a little low for you guys. You are the Ohio State. You have always been in the top 5 position. I do think we'll see you guys in the top 5. You got Heiselman, who's, he's been around. Jordan Decatur, Anthony Echemendia coming in as a freshman. You guys have some young guys that really are going to have to show up for you guys. Rocky Jordan, Carson Carchala, Caleb Romero, and then we didn't touch Sammy Stasso. We didn't talk about this yet either, about how Singletary made the move to 195. So if you just want to talk a little bit about that, I'm sure you guys are pretty close friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't speak for him on why he did it or stuff
Yeah.
like that. But he was always kind of light. So even this year, he was like 213 and stuff like that. And I think it's always kind of been plan to go when Colin left. It doesn't matter heavyweight or 90 or 95. He's going to be one of the top guys in the country. I mean, he's got everything. He's got good down. He can spend. So I'm really excited for him. Because he's going to be good. All the young guys. I think we have a good track record of getting young guys to where they need to be at the end of the year. We got Sasso, guys like Miles Martin his freshman year, and Nate Tomasello his freshman year. We have a good track record of getting young guys to nationals and on the podium. So, and I think especially with the leaders that we have in the room and like the people that stayed around, definitely push those guys to be better and like to prove something that a lot of people don't think that we can do. Especially this year, even this year we were we were ranked 5th and nobody thought we were gonna do good at Big Tens or do good at nationals, and then all of a sudden we got like 3 guys ranked top 2, So, and making a case to where we could have been, that 3rd team, which was everyone was battling for. So,
yeah. So you go into Big Tens, you're seated okay. You're seated enough to get that bid for nationals. You end up placing 6th in like a very stacked Big Ten field. You have Gable Steveson winning it, Paris 2nd, Cassiope 3rd, Hilger 4th, and then you have Jensen, another guy you really can't count out in 5th. And you take a respectable 6th place. It was nothing too crazy, nothing like that. And then you qualify for nationals to get the 19 seed. In my opinion, that's a very good matchup for you, having Carter Isley, who's the 14th seed first round.
Yeah, I was pumped for that one.
Yeah.
I was pumped.
And sadly, it never got to happen. I think we could have seen you on the podium. Like, every match is a dogfight. You had a lot of bigger guys in your path, so I think those would have all played to your advantage too. And it would have been insane to see you on the podium,
Yeah, oh yeah. And definitely, after that match against the Purdue kid to qualify for those, like, super emotional. I remember running up, hugging my dad and stuff like that. He was tearing up a little bit. So I have a picture on my phone, like, took it on Snapchat, like me walking off the mat, and I was like, "We're going to nationals, baby." So it was definitely like, honestly, just because of the implications of that match, it definitely, sticks out in my mind as one of my favorite matches. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
A big thing I want to touch on is, like, going into next season, the bids for the Big Ten might go down, because conferences like the EIWA is going to be stacked next year. A lot of other conferences are coming into the mix, The MAC has Matt Stencil. The EIWA has Jordan Wood, Fernandez, the Harvard kid. And then you have, like, a lot of kids coming into the mix. Like, you have a lot more freshmen coming into the weight class,
Yeah.
And that's a big thing you need to think about. And you have Colton Schultz from the Pac-12, I think.
Yeah.
And then you have whoever it is from the Big 12. There's definitely somebody there. Andrews from Wyoming, right?
Yeah.
There's solid kids and everything. It's not like the Big Ten's like 12 deep, like as they used to be like last year,
Yeah.
If you make it to nationals, you're going to get a solid seed.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to worry match by match because, like, it's solid all around. It's not like you have guys like the Snyder, the Adam Kuhn, the Desi, just basically solidify themselves as top 3, and, like, everybody else can go anywhere. You have like the top 8 to like 16, honestly, now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes it even better. It makes it more worthwhile to get there and to win. And I got some I gotta wrestle for the nationals that I missed and the nationals that I'm at. So next year is gonna be for both of them. So
yeah, of course,
I'm excited for it.
So, if you could say there's one person you're looking forward to wrestle, who do you think that would be?
One person I'm looking forward to wrestle. Shoot. I would say I would say one of the, I'd say probably Kirk Levitt, Greg, just because, got to wrestle with him here and getting to wrestle against him will be, definitely fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's going to be one of the better guys in the weight class. So him and probably Hilger, just because I was so close against Hilger at Big Ten, lost 1-0, thought I had the takedown. didn't. So
Debatable.
that went back. So
Yeah,
definitely probably those two
Luger's
guys.
insane,
But,
dude. Try to wrestle.
yeah.
So slick with everything he does. And I think the final topic for this is going to be Tate Orndorff from Utah Valley, transferred to Ohio State. You probably got to talk to him a little bit about that. Like how everything's looking.
It's coming in when I first got to Ohio State, I knew they're going to bring in the best guys. They're always going to have the best guys in the nation. And that was kind of a conversation I had with my dad before I chose here. And he told me, he was like, do you want to go and go to a school where you're going to be the best guy in the room, and you're going to you might not reach as good as you could be, or do you want to go to a room where you're going to be pushed every day? They're going to bring guys in to beat you, and you're going to you're going to be, if you do get out there, you're going to be ready, and you're going to be battle tested against some of the best recruits, some of the best kids in the country. So I chose Ohio State for a reason, and I didn't choose it to run from anybody or not wrestle the best guys or just be given something. So I'm excited to every year you got to earn it, and like I said earlier, he's got to prove it. So I got to prove it, and he's got to prove it. So I'm excited for it, and I'm pumped to get into the room and get my hands on him a little bit and get the feel, because I've never wrestled him before. But yeah, definitely excited. Big thanks.
Yeah, no, it looks good. So next year, I think you're gonna be a senior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So so going to your senior year, that's gonna be your biggest season yet. It is for everybody. Obviously your plans are to get on the podium, hopefully win it. Are you really looking past that, like anything wrestling, like in the freestyle circuit or anything like that at the moment?
I love doing freestyle. I feel like I'm a little bit better because I'm a little bit more defensive. So freestyle kind of plays into a little bit more of my wheelhouse. Haven't really thought about like doing anything beyond like the typical like U23s or anything, but kind of when it gets more towards that time, I'll kind of have those conversations and see what's out there. But if it opens up, I'd love to. But if it doesn't, going into coaching would probably be the move for me. But either way, I'm excited for this next year and beyond. So.
I think definitely everyone's excited to see how this NCAA tournament plays out. I mean, who knows? You could see yourself, being there, and they started at heavyweight last year. I mean, 2 years ago they started at heavyweight, so we could see it end at heavyweight. You be in the finals, and you might have that movie ending for you to clutch up and win for the team.
Could make your dream come true of knocking off Stevenson in the finals. Might get it done for you. So
get you versus Kirkley in the finals. That'd be a perfect match right there.
That would be a good matchup. Yeah. But I mean, other than that, I think the rest of your Buckeye lineup, I think you're gonna have a solid year. You're gonna have a solid team, solid year. I mean, I disagree with the rank number 9 as a team. I don't think that you'll see finish that at the NCAA tournament. I mean, you did take a big loss losing Luke Fletcher, but I mean, you got that next man up mentality with Echemendia coming in at 141. I mean, a weight class that everyone is going to say Yanni already has the weight class, with him returning and, some of those other guys returning at 33. But, I mean, I think, Jordan Decatur is definitely somebody you can't count out at 133. Yeah. And you definitely have a team made up of some hard wrestling individuals, and a team that's not just going to roll over for, somebody's ranking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
I think other than that, thank you for coming on the show.
It's
definitely been.
It was great having you. A lot of people requested this. You were a guy I wanted to talk to. I just don't like reaching out to people, so I'll let Derek do that, really.
Yeah. Oh.
I do the planning.
I've been blocked by a lot of guys,
Yeah, Spencer Lee has him blocked.
Spencer Lee. Yeah, he's not going to see his video, so I can say that. Sorry.
Hey, I don't mind talking. Talk about whatever.
I've never had a heavyweight block me though, so.
I'm surprised you guys kept me up a little past my bedtime, man. It's midnight now, so.
Yeah.
I'm very sleepy eyed, but I really appreciate you guys having me for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, man.
So maybe we'll have you on after the national tournament. You could give us a recap of everything that went down.
Yeah, I'll make sure. I'll bring my gold medal for sure. I'll wear it.
All right. All
right.
right.
So, yeah. This has been
Thank you.
episode 15 of Late Night Shots with our special guest, Gary Traub. Thank you for joining us, man. And this is it. Peace.